Hi, Priya. Hi, everyone. Really good to connect with you. Some of you, I recognize the names. We've known each other, worked with each other, trained with one another, and some are new names. Really good to meet you. I see some of you that I will be working with you shortly. I recall a couple of names that I'm seeing here. Welcome, Khadisha. It's good to see you. So today, we thought it was time that for those or coaches that are or team leaders that are interested in understanding what ICF has done in terms of the new standards they've introduced to the marketplace, and perhaps touch on why this is happening as well, and for you to have a space to kind of ask some of the questions that might be going on in your head of these standards and how to understand the details behind them. And now, what I mean by standards specifically today, we're going to talk about team coaching competencies that ICF introduced back in around 2019-20. We're also going to talk about the credential for advanced certification team coaching. So this is a brand new advanced credential that ICF has put out there for team coaches. And also we're going to talk about the latest, a few months ago, ICF announced an advanced accreditation in team coaching. So that's the education part behind team coaching. So if some of you are coaches already and are on this path of getting credentialed with ICF or are already credentials, you kind of know what the elements are behind ICF's intent of providing credentialing process or paths. In essence, ICF says the market wants coaches who are trained and they're experienced, and some third party has kind of tested it out and they approve that they meet the mark, they meet the standards. So ICF's role, as some of you may well know, has been to play the regulatory body for coaches internationally. It's the biggest association around the world. So there's something like 50,000 plus members. And I was just having a quick look at ICF's site around how many coach education providers there are. Organizations like ICE who've gone and got an accreditation for their coaching programs from ICE. And I had a very quick look, and it was around 800, 900 coaching education providers. The 50,000 members, I think the last figure I saw of credentialed coaches was around 35, 40,000. They're typically around 80, 90% of members are credentialed. This is the kind of figures that I recall in the back of my mind. So why are we here? We thought it's time to look at specifically team coaching and what ICF has introduced in terms of standards. Now, before we go forward, I'd like to kind of get to know you a little bit about you. So I'm going to ask. I'm just going to throw launch a poll in here. It's one question, and it's what category below, and it's a multiple entry, so you can choose more than one. What would you say? What category or categories would you say you fit in these in the options that are here? Maybe you don't see yourself in the options, and you can just use other as the option out there. So I'm going to give a little bit of time for you to see this and respond, and then we'll move on to the next bit. If anybody is not seeing the poll, please raise your hand or let me know so that I can read it out for you, and you can put your response in the chat if you wish, or just give it a slide. Are you all seeing the poll? Because I'm not seeing any responses coming through. Yes, you are? Great. So for those of you who can't see it, I can see some of you have said in the chat you can't see it. So the question is, which of these categories best represent your situation right now? So it's multiple choice. You can choose more than one. Are you a manager, leader, that in an organization that's not to do with coaching business? Or have you your own coaching practice right now? Or you work in a coaching related organization? That's what you do. You could be a faculty member, you could be part of the team, you could be both. The next one is work for an organization that's not in the coaching business, and you're not a manager or leader. So in essence, you're part of a team. And the next one is changing careers. So you're in between jobs. And then the last one is others. I'm not seeing any response come through, and I don't know whether it's my system or has anybody responded? Yes? For some reason, it's not coming up for me.
I think it's not coming up for you, Taimur, but I can see it now that I'm looking. Yeah. So 5 have said they're manager leaders. 11 have their own coaching practice. 1 is working in a coaching related organization. 1 is working for an organization, not coach a business, not a manager leader, and 2 are changing careers, and 1 other.
Okay, great. Thank you. So for some reason I can't see them. So Puya, just help me out, because there's one other poll I'm going to put out there. So this is more coaching specific. So I'm asking specifically around your coaching status. So I've just launched it. I hope I've launched it. Can you see it? If not, it looks like Puya, you have to launch it.
Okay.
It's called coaching status. So in essence here, I'm asking a little about more specifically, which of these responses actually match your position from a coaching perspective. So for those of you who can't see it, it's asking questions like, I'm already practicing as a team coach in an organization, and I have had some training. Or I'm practicing as a team coach and I haven't had any team coach training. Or I'm a team leader and I want to learn the team coaching competencies to bring it into my organization. Or I'm practicing as a coach and want to add team coaching to my services. So you actually haven't got any team coaching experience, but you do want to bring that as a specialty into your service as a team coach. Or I'm training to be a coach and you have interest in team coaching. So you're at the earlier stages of learning the coaching competencies. Or I want to start training to become a coach / team coach.
I think everyone can see it now, Taimur.
Cool. What are you seeing?
Well, the answers are coming in. So far, everyone's either practicing as a team coach or as a coach and wants to add team coaching to their services.
Okay, great. So
person who's practicing as a team coach.
Say that last one, Puya.
And 1 person now has indicated they are practicing as a team coach, or 2 now, in organizations and have not had team coach training, 2 of them. Okay,
great. Well, thank you for sharing that. It kind of gives a bit of context of who we have in the room and where you're at. I'm going to start with some statistics. So some reasons why ICF has decided that they want to create an advanced, so almost what they're saying is, for the very first time, their focus is not just on coaching competencies anymore. What they're saying is the marketplace, the organization's demand for team coaching has increased so much, and the need for this and the complexity in the organization today for team coaching has gone up to a certain degree where it warrants to distinguish what are the additional education competencies, experiences that coaches need in order to function effectively or more effectively with teams. So what they've decided to do is to bring this advanced both education and credentialing. So in the slide I want to share with you is this. So I was looking at the ICF research that came out earlier this year. If you look at some of these figures, this is the research ICF has done, talking to coaches around the world and also the clients that work with coaches. Now, what you're noticing here is more than half of the coaches that have been part of this research globally are saying that their clients are team leaders. So the need for that team leader to perform with their team to a higher standard. So there's a lot of focus already with coaches working with team leaders. Business coaching, which ICF splits into, leadership, executive coaching, small business coaching, all of those are lumped into this category called business coaching, seems to be the main speciality. 67% of the coaches are sitting in this particular niche. They've decided that's the niche they want to operate. And I think some of you actually fall into these research data numbers. I certainly do. 57% of coach practitioners, clients, are sponsored. Now, there's a reason why I've put this in, because when you're dealing with sponsored clients, there is an additional complexity in terms of how you make the agreements and how do you abide and align and keep to those agreements as you're working as a team coach. 80% of the clients want their coach to be certified, so educated in that in the coaching or credential. So the clients are saying, I want to choose someone who has gone through this this process. And 60% growth in the coaching revenue over the last 3 years. That's including the COVID period that we've just experienced. So I see this as a huge kind of affirmation to what ICF has done in terms of producing the new education and the credentialing that goes with it. So today, as I promised, I'm going to go through what it involves. If you're interested in getting into that process, what does it actually involve? So I'm going to share with you ICF's site, and I'm going to walk through some of the things that ICF has decided to do and what the standards are actually saying about that particular educational credentialing process, and also how you can find it, so you can go and actually read up more in your own time about it. So when you open up the ICF website, now, whether you're a member or not, you have access to this menu right at the top here. And one of the first places you may want to go if you are looking for a accredited organization, an ICF accredited organization, such as ICE, that has got the approval from ICF to do the educational part, you go to the credentials and standards. And when you click on that, there is a menu that talks about finding an education. Now, some of you may already know this, so I'm just going to walk through this very fast. it opens up the educational search service. And when you press view, you go into a menu where you can select all the things that are important to you in order to see which of the organizations that ICF has given a license to provides the standard for the team coaching. For the very first time, there is an Advanced Accredited Team Coaching, acronym AATC, in the menu. This is only a few months ago this has been added to the menu. Now, prior to this, I would get calls by coaches to say, how do I find organizations that have this accreditation? So you'd have to go and look in people's websites and do Google searches, and it took a lot of time. Now ICF has made that simpler by just putting that process in. So once you go through this and you select all the criteria and you press go, a page comes up. And in this particular example, I've gone and asked find ICE. And so it's found ICE. You can then click on ICE or whichever program that you've chosen, and you will go into the details of what that program provides, how to get contacted with them, etc., etc. So this is the first important point to put out there for you, that if you're looking for an education, coaching education, team coaching education specifically, go to the website and you can look at all the options that are available, virtual, face-to-face. You've got all the menu to go through. Now, if we look at the Advanced Accreditation Team Coaching, the educational part, in a little bit more detail, so what does ICF demand of organizations such as ICE to actually give them this accreditation? So the first thing they say is it's got to be a minimum of 60 hours of coaching education. And that coaching education needs to be focusing on the ICF team coaching competencies that were issued a few years ago. And these team competencies, team coaching competencies, if you want to see this, you can go to the ICF website and just literally go to the search and put team coaching competencies, and it'll come up for you, and you can go in and get the PDF file that I'm just showing you right now, and just see how ICF has defined coaching, team coaching. So just for the sake of completeness. So if you are already a coach, or if you're training as a coach, we know the definition of ICF coaching. So here for team coaching, they have adjusted it for what it is, the outcome that you're going to get in that training. So it's being able to partner in a co-creative and reflective process. So I'm reading the bits that are different. And it's with a team. So the client is a team. It's no longer an individual. Your client's actually everybody in the team, including the manager. And it's about the dynamics and the relationships of that team. And the outcome is to inspire them to maximize not only their abilities, but also their potential. Now that potential, I want to focus on that word a little bit, your abilities and potential. So potential is something that is there as a talent, for example, that the individual holds, that you can develop further, so that that person can then perform more effectively. So potential and ability. So there's like some skills and experience that person brings, but it's also about who that person is. What drives that person? What do they need? And that's all the kind of the talent definition from a perspective of the way we run the education program. So that potential word is really key, and it kind of goes deeper in terms of getting people to work more productively with one another. And all of this is in order to reach their common purpose and shared goals. So this is what ICF is defining as team coaching. They then go and look at some modalities. So what, as you know, if you're a coach or you're training as a coach, in the 8 competencies ICF has highlighted, it talks about when you go to see your client, make sure they understand that they are getting coached. They're not getting mentored, they're not getting consultancy, they're not being trained, they're being coached. So as a coach, we have to understand what the differences are, what is coaching, what is not coaching, and then go and work with clients. In team coaching, there's a similar thing, because there are many ways to develop a team. Specifically, there are 6 ways to develop a team that's highlighted in the competencies of ICF. And there's some differences, and those differences are important for us to understand as team coaches, so that when we go to work with a client and we listen to the client, they may want something else. They may not want team coaching. They may want some other development. So that if we understand the differences, we can then distinguish and also educate the client, so that the client is getting what they really want and they're not getting confused, because team coaching has specific competencies attached to it. So ICF has come and looked at every single competency, 1 to 8, that was already there. Next to it, they've added some additional skills around the competencies 1 to 8, specifically for team coaching. So so this might be a good place just to, kind of put a stick in the ground around competencies. When we're looking at competencies, so I'll give you an example. So the competency number 1 is about demonstrating ethical practice. Now, ICF, in terms of educating coaches and the standards ICF puts for coaching, it has 5 skill sets that they have defined under demonstrating ethical practice. When it comes to team coaching, they've added extra because it's different. It has different skills that we must learn, be aware of, and apply effectively as we go along. Now, you might wonder what this bottom bit is. And I'm just going to highlight this, that the ICE program focuses on strength development, and strength development is about talents, understanding individual talents, and also developing those talents so that they become more effective in what they do. So what we've added, and this is to do with ICE, not ICF, is the strength development skills that are complementary to each of those competencies. And it's really focused on that potential bit that we talked about. So who is that person? What's unique about them? What are those talents that are unique? What drives them? What makes it different? Where can they get into trouble because of that talent? Where can they really play strong when they got it? And how do they interact with others with different talents? Because we're now talking about dynamics of a team. And that starts to introduce some tools, additional tools, in order for team coaches to be able to assist, so that the individuals in a team understand their own abilities and potential, and also get to know what other team members' abilities and potentials are, so that they can then volunteer and do more of the kind of activities that puts them within their potential, not outside their potential. That's the key here. So within the context of competencies, the 60 hours minimum coach education must be focused on team coaching competencies, also the ethical conduct, also the other competencies, the 8 competencies in coaching. The person needs to be aware of those as well, because team coaching is supplementary. So if you're a team leader wanting to take this into your organization, what ICF says, what we advise also, is learn a minimum basic foundation of coaching competencies, and then add the team coaching competencies on top. to be able to go in and become a more effective team leader. Now, these standards, I'm going to read the highlights. Minimum of 60 hours we've gone through. And also, in the program, you are going to be observed to demonstrate those skill sets. So that program must have some observation in the coaching sessions you're involved with. And also, by the end of the program, you must have worked with a coaching supervisor for 5 hours. And the supervision definition is a supervisor is someone who focuses on you as a coach and how you're applying your team coach to your coaching services, your business. So it's also concerned about the client. So the supervisor is also looking at the client as well as the coach. And there are different skill sets involved in there. So ICF is starting to introduce supervision, and we'll do more about that as it goes forward. So this is the educational part, that all the AATCs that you find in the site that ICF has accredited, those organizations must have given ICF a program that consists of all these things that they're going to do in order for the team coach to come out of it with those skill sets and abilities. Now, one of the things I'd like to add here as part of the education is, so apart from working with a supervisor and apart from learning the skills and knowledge and being observed in the sessions with a faculty member involved, some organizations like us, we will also ask you to take what you're learning and go and apply it right from get-go. So go, if you're already working with organizations and you have experience and in fact you're actually team coaching already, then take those skill sets and add it into your team coaching programs you have. And you may find that there's some things you haven't done. You can go and review and rebase it with the sponsor organizations involved, the teams involved. The idea is to up the game, and it's results oriented. It's you taking what you got, taking it in practical terms, applying it, and then the supervision becomes really powerful because you've got some real examples to then go and sit with your supervisor and say, hey, this is what happened to me. This is where I got stuck, or this is what, you know, I didn't really know what to do here, or I did this and I'm not quite sure if it was right. And bring it into the sessions with your faculty members. So you can ask questions and you'll have a forum or an area where you can talk amongst yourselves as team coaches and learn and share and inspire each other as you go through the programs. So the more the program, so please go and look what the program offers in totality and make sure it fits with your learning style, and it adds that value that you're looking for. They're all accredited, they're all got that minimum standard, but there's more. And it's that bit that's more, I'm inviting you to go and search and understand that a little bit more and make the best selection for yourself. So why are we doing this? So the education is 60 hours. That's one of the requirements that ICF has highlighted. And I'd like you to just look at the next stage that ICF has identified, and that is in the credentials and standards part, there is a team coaching section now. Now, if you go in there, there will be a clear path of how you can become credentialed. So it's an advanced certification in team coaching. And what it will say is it splits it into, in essence, 4 categories. It will say there's an educational part, which we've just talked about. It will talk about experience, which I've just talked about, saying that if you choose a program that you're getting educated, then you may decide that my learning style is learn, apply, get feedback, learn more, apply, get feedback, and in a dripwise manner over time, build the competency and abilities and knowledge about yourself and team coaching. And that experience could be added to the experience that you require to get your credentials. So as you're educating, you're also building the experience. That's what I would advise for the team coaches to do. Other training programs may do differently. The coaching supervision we've talked about, so it's within the educational part. ICF has segmented it because some people may go and get their education from a non-ICF accredited program. So that's why it's there. But if you're already in an accredited program, you must have completed your 5 hours and had a letter from your supervisor to add as part of the things that you have done during the education to ensure you get that certification to apply for the team coaching credential. And then there's an exam. So if you're already a credential ICF coach, you'll know that you know what that means. There's an exam to test your knowledge of team coaching, as well as the application of team coaching. So the scenarios based. So the exam part can be done face-to-face, or it can be done online, and you can get more details. You can go in there and find all the details. It's a 62 question exam, and it's in 4 sections, 2 of them about knowledge, 2 of them about scenario based. So it's the practical side of things. The supervision we talked about, it's 5 hours of supervision during minimum 5 hours supervision. The experience, it's for you to have worked with at least 5 team coaching engagements. So it's at least 5 team coaching engagements before you go and get your credential, and it must be within 5 years of you applying. So that's the experience that ICF wants in order to, as a minimum, in order for you to apply for this advanced certification. I want to throw something in, because in this crowd, there are people who are already what I would say experienced team coaches. So they're team coaches who have gone and operated with teams. So ICF recognized that. So as far as the educational part is concerned, so ICF has said, if you've got experience, then what you just heard from me, park it. If you've got experience, this is what you need to do. Instead of 60 hours, you can apply with 30 hours education. However, instead of 5 coach experiences over the last 5 years, you must demonstrate 10 team coaching engagements. And I think within the guidelines, it talks about you've got to go and get feedback and verification from the team that you have coached. So that's another new bit that as coaches, we don't see this, but in team coaching, ICF wants to hear from the people you have coached. So this is something else in the experience that I didn't mention. Now, going back to if you're already experienced, so you can have 30 hours education. However, you must have 10 hours of experience as opposed to 5. And they've identified that I've talked about the supervision. Instead of 5 hours supervision, you need 10 hours supervision. I knew there was one other bit to that special, and they've called this, for those of you who are experienced, they've called this credit for prior learning. So this is the credit ICF is giving you for that prior learning. So instead of 60 hours, 30 hours of education, however, you need 10 team coaching engagements, and you need 10 hours of supervision as opposed to 5. So that's the crux of it. If I was gonna put this into a kind of a summary, and there'll be more details, but I'd like to hear questions. And I'm just wondering, Puya, are you seeing questions in the chat? Are people putting their questions in the chat? Are you collecting if they are?
Nothing. There was one question about from Mass about whether that the statistics that you had included volunteer coaches, but that's about it.
Volunteer coaches, meaning I'm not quite sure, Massa, what you mean by volunteered coaches. I'm assuming you mean like reciprocating, but I'm not quite sure. If you can just make it clear what you mean by that, then hopefully I'll have the answer for you. Now, while you're thinking about what you've heard and what ICF has done, I wonder, is there anybody in the group right now that have come on today with a pre-mindset of what you want to get out of today and you haven't heard it? So if there's something that you've come thinking you want to get out of today and you haven't heard it, perhaps you can also highlight that. So, can you tell us about XYZ, for example? Or I've got a question around XYZ that you haven't covered. That would be useful as well for me to kind of gauge where to take the conversation going forward. Now, while you're thinking through this, I'm going to just, with the time that we have, I'm going to share with you what ICF has outlined as what is it that team coaches bring. Why is team coaching different? And I want to share that slide, if I may. So in essence, ICF is saying, if the marketplace is looking for a team coach, and the marketplace knows that team coach has been educated through a accredited program that ICF is observing and monitoring, and they've got their credential, then they have gone through learning competencies and experience, so competency and capability, to be able to apply this complex skill set of team coaching. So ICF has highlighted some of the perhaps the most bold or the most areas that all of this is in the details of the competencies, but it might be interesting just to have a look at that as an overall. So we talked about this one. Can you distinguish team coaching from other development modalities? Can you do that? And you will do that once you go through that program. Can you manage the complex dynamics and patterns that's unique to teams? So this starts to hint about, everybody's going to be different in the team. They're going to bring themselves, and themselves are different. And sometimes those differences get those individuals into trouble, and there's conflict. Sometimes there is a lack or a shortage of a certain skill set or capability or talent within a team. So how can the team identify, and more importantly, the team leader identify where those gaps are so they can be filled? So that dynamics of having that conversation, partnering with a variety of stakeholders, we mentioned that. There is quite a bit sitting behind this, because when you go into organizations, there's two elements. One, it's likely the organization is going to sponsor. That in itself has complexities, because you're dealing with multiple people who are stakeholders in the outcome, and they want to have a say about what should be done. And there's also the relationship between the client who's the team coach, and those stakeholders. And it's about those, ethical conduct we've learned, and how we're going to apply that. And is the organization familiar with those? And how are you going to manage that? How are you going to partner with them, those stakeholders? Some of those stakeholders are not involved in the sponsoring bit from a financial part, but they are involved from a perspective of needing the change. And one of the reasons behind that is a lot of teams have multiple leaders working for them. working with them, sorry. So that's the complexity. So there are multiple stakeholders involved. How are you going to partner with them? And does the organization give you the space to go and do that? Supporting teams in the development of collaboration and communication. That bit is all about, you know, each team member being more self-aware and aware of their team members. So how do you as a team coach create that environment to develop that team? Partnering with teams to develop a sense of common identity and purpose. This is one of the needs of teams, people in organizations. And they need this. How are you partnering with them to develop that sense? And the team leader being involved can be crucial here. Collaborating with teams to support conflict resolution. Just mentioned a little bit about that, how it could occur. And then promoting a team's autonomy and long-term sustainability. Team coaches are not there to be there all the time. They're there for a period of time, albeit quite a bit of a period, because after all, it's coaching. So it's multiple sessions with breaks where people can go and change and create the change and come back and have conversation. So yes, team coaching and coaching full stop requires time. It's not just a one session. However, whatever that time is agreed for the outcome that was agreed, it's the idea is that team becomes autonomous and sustainable in what they do and how they work with each other. So you're kind of, the best outcome is they don't need you after that. And if they need you, it's for something else. It's same for the coaching one-on-ones that we've learned. So I'm going to put a pause there. Huya, how are we doing for time? Just want to make sure we're kind of managing.
Yeah, we have a few questions. We have one from Kamran. We have a couple of questions from Massa and Khadisha also. So
Okay.
maybe we'll go through that. Kamran had his hand up first. So Kamran, if you would like to open up your line and ask a question, be happy to hear from you.
Hello, do you have my voice?
We do.
Yes, Kamran.
Okay, so hi, thank you for the webinar. For the question that you have asked for feedback. So I myself, when attend to a webinar, expect to have at least 50% information and 50% maybe advertising. Till now, I just have a little bit definition of what team coaching means by ICF, which is very important for me, and it's nice to hear about it, and where I can take it officially from ICF site, I mean, and the others was just advertising to pass this, course in ICF. So what I would expected from the webinars like this is more focusing on experiences and information instead of introducing how to pass this course and receive the certification. Just you have asked for feedbacks, I just let you know. But anyhow, thank you for the information till now I have received from you, Taimur.
You're welcome. Thank you for the feedback, Kamran. Hopefully you'll pick up some more gems as we go and finish off today. Thank you.
Okay, so
you're welcome.
Massa is asking about the costs for individuals and teams. She also asked about whether we have any plan for financial coaching as well. So those are Massa's questions.
So Massa, I wonder if you can open up the line, because I'm not quite sure I understand what you mean by financial coaching. Hi, Massa, can you hear me? Because you're on mute if you're talking. Oh, you can't speak. Okay, so maybe you can describe what you mean by financial coaching, And then the other question was, how can we participate? How can we participate and what are the costs for the individuals and teams? So I'm not quite sure if you mean participate in a coach training program or participate working with a team as a coach. If it's to do with participating with a educational provider, what I would say is go to the website, ICF website, have a look at that menu, the ESS that I put up. Look at who provides the Advanced Accreditation for team coaching and look at how they provide it, because we're different. We have different demands here. And then each page that you open up of that provider, there should be a contact number. And then normally they don't put prices on the search engine. So you need to contact the provider and ask them what their costs are, what their installment plans are, and all that good stuff. So if I've understood your question, that's my view. If I haven't, please write what you think you need, and then hopefully I can get to that. Was there another question from Massa, or was it just these two, Priya?
That was it. So the next question is from Khadisha, while we wait for Massa in case there's Massa, I will give you contact information at the end. Okay, we have another question from Petrina, but let's get to Khadisha's question first. So Khadisha's question is, can you tell us about the 5 supervisions and 5 team engagements offerings as part of the ICE team coaching program?
So thanks, Khadisha. The idea behind joining this path to get credentialed from ICF, the educational part doesn't warrant the supervision or the engagement to be provided by the educator. So I want to throw out that that's what ICF has put out there as their standards. What ICF has asked for the providers, so this is not just ICE, this is everybody, and then I'll come back to ICE, Khadisha. So if you are signing up for an educational program, you're signing up for the 60 hours certification, and the minimum there on the certification is 1, that you learn those team coaching competencies, and the program provides that. Also, the program must verify as a minimum, verify that you have worked with a supervisor for 5 hours and that supervisor meets those criteria. That's what the minimum requirements are. Some programs will add the supervision cost. So they will find the supervisor, add the supervision cost on top and give that. Some programs will just leave that up to you. Go and find the supervisor and pay that yourself. But they must verify that the supervisor meets those criteria and that you've done the 5 hours. From a perspective of team engagement offerings, there is no requirement from the education provider to provide clients for you to go and get those engagements. What ICF has put in the standards is during the program, you get to demonstrate your team coaching abilities, and somebody from the faculty is listening and observing and giving you feedback. Now, that could be you bringing an audio of you working with a team, or it could be live, or it could be a setting that the faculty has set up where you're working with another attendee in the program, but you're demonstrating, and the faculty can give you that feedback. Now, the thing that I find works most in my own experience is go and join a program whereby you have the ability and space to go and work with teams and practice and bring that back into the classes and the forums that are provided in that education provider, or whoever that is. Because it's a space where you learn from one another, and you got the faculty there to give you feedback. And also, of course, you got the supervision during that period. So that's my experience. But some people want to fast track, do the education, and then go and do the engagements later. The other thing I want to say about what ICF says about team engagement, so this applies to everybody, all the providers, is that the team engagement doesn't necessarily have to be just team coaching. Remember, it's about team development. So it's very likely the organization is going to ask you to provide multiple modalities of team development. It's very likely that that's what's going to happen, rather than just team coaching. But sometimes it is just team coaching. So ICF recognizes that and has stated that when you're saying I've had a team engagement with an organization, they want part of that team engagement to include team coaching. So you may have team building and team coaching as part of the contract you've made with that organization and that team. Bring that in, and ICF will want for you to say, look, I put so many hours for team building and I put so many hours for team coaching. Here's what I did in the team coaching. So there's a form kind of asks you, and you outline what it is that you did, and how many of those modalities you used, how many hours you put in each, and what was the outcome of each. So it's kind of quite a detailed report that you give to ICF as part of that experience that you've had. Now, what do we do in ICE? So as I mentioned before, the team engagement, we encourage from get-go for you to go and start working with a team. Now, a team can be like 3 people. It doesn't have to be a big team. It can be a small group of people with a common goal that you can go and work and bring that experience and include that as team engagement. By the way, as a in brackets, if you're involved with teams that are bigger than 15 or more individuals in that team, you're going to need to learn to work with a co-coach. So the ICF standard says, if you're working with a bigger team, you need to pay enough attention to each team member. So when it gets to 15 and more, you ain't going to do it on your own. So you must have a co-coach. So bear that in mind in terms of that's what we would ask you to do during the program when you're going and developing your skill sets with an outside company. Now, if somebody joins the program and has just finished their team coaching, or they haven't worked with teams at all, and they haven't started marketing. So I'm kind of, Khadija, I'm going a little bit step forward, reading into what you've asked. Some people will come on a program and they not only haven't they worked with teams, they haven't got to a point where they've got access to. So there's a bit about business development here. So the one thing that I would say is that some programs, and ICE is included in that program, bring business development into it. So there is a bit about kind of pushing you to go into the world and doing it. Part of it is it up here between the ears that's stopping you, or is it some kind of team that you have to build to do the social media, and you have to put an investment behind it? All of that you can do, anybody can do, right, if they put their mind to it. But sometimes it's this that gets in the way. So it's this bit that in the program of this period that we work with, there is a focus on what's stopping you, and the supervision part of it helps that as well. So the supervision and the program will assist that. In the ICE program, we have at least one supervisor we've worked with who is available. the cost we've given for our programs doesn't include the 5 supervisions. However, we do have a list of supervisors that we've worked with and we can recommend. So I want to, at this point, also talk about the standards of ICF a little bit more in a broader context. Not everybody that comes on these programs want to be credentialed. Some people come on these programs to get a certification that says, look, I've got the education, and they go to their companies and that's enough from a perspective of branding. Some people don't even want the certification. They want the learning and the experience to go and apply it. So that category is likely, in my experience, the team leaders. So organizations would come to me and say, look, get these 3 managers through this program because I want them to perform better at work. They don't care about them getting certified because they're part of an organization, right? So what they want is the learning and application. Whereas a coach is likely to need the certification and credential because, as I said, 80% of the clients are saying, I want my coach to have that as proof that to endorse that, that has happened from both the program provider and ICF. So going back to the supervision, if you are in the category of a coach or team leader where you want to do the education, get the education certificate or not, you do not have to do the supervision. What you will get at the end of that program is a certificate that says everything else is done bar the 5 supervisions. And when you're ready to go to the credentialing, whenever that is, you can come back and show that you've done the 5 supervisions, and then you'll get the certificate to go to ICF and say, look, I've done the full program. So that's also part of the standards of ICF that allows that flexibility for people's situations, based on where they're at. They don't want to stop you learning and applying just because you're not ready for the credential. Does that answer your questions, Khadija? Okay, cool. Puya, are there any other questions?
Yeah, well, Petrina asked a question. She's indicating that you kind of answered it, but I think there's perhaps a little bit of it that maybe needs clarification. She asks, what do you recommend for getting on the team coaching path with strengths focus if you're a new coach and don't currently meet the minimum requirements of ACC, PCC, or MCC credential?
Yeah, so great question, Petrina. That's another one of those that ICF has kind of goes to the detail of what their standard is. That is very pertinent to the question you've asked. So ICF says, if you want to get your credential, then let's say you've got the education. Khadija has come on the program. She's got the full certification, including the supervision. ICF says, before you apply for the credential, you've got to be at least an ACC coach. So you must have an ACC credential as a minimum, right? Why are they saying that? It's because this is an advanced certification for team coaching. It means you're already a credentialed coach. So you're now going into this advanced area. Petrina, what I would say, it's along the similar lines as I was saying to Khadija, people have different paths in order to get to their outcome in terms of speed, in terms of what they want in it. So I've known coaches who have come, in fact, there's one currently working with us. This person has come from a team leadership perspective. So they're not coaches. So they're zero mile, kind of brand new, right? What they decided to do was to do their coach education, so learning coaching skills. And once they get to a minimum level where they can come into this advanced program, they want to hop into the advanced program and do both of them in parallel. So at the end of it, they've done their coaching program and they can apply for their ACC whenever they want, and they can apply for their credential for team coaching whenever they want, because they've got the education and the grounding that they needed, and they got themselves ready for that time frame. So again, going back to our philosophy in ICE, what we say is, you're coming on the educational program because you are interested in working with teams. That's number one. Number two, so you're interested. It doesn't mean you're already working. You're interested in working with teams. Number two, you want to get going. You want to get going in terms of getting yourself ready to work with teams. It's not just learning. It's not just hyper theoretical. You want to get your hands dirty. You want to go in and practice. So that's incorporated in pushing you to start working with teams. Now, one of the things that you might decide to do, Petrina, is you might decide you said you're a new coach. So that either means you're in a coach training program, or you've completed the coach training program, and it's kind of early days. You haven't got your credential, your ACC, BCC. If you know that you want to work in organizations and with teams, the best thing to do is for you to decide, how quickly do I want to step into this learning and application of team coaching? Once you decide that kind of helps you, do I go and start now the educational program of team coaching, or do I wait and just do one-on-one or group coaching, or even dabble into team coaching without the education? So there are all sorts out there. And for me to recommend right now without really knowing your situation or Puya, it gets a little bit tricky. My advice is give your contact details to Puya, and one of us will talk to you. And once we understand where you're at and where your head is, then perhaps we can give you some advice based on our experience. Hopefully that will help. If I didn't answer your question, please write or come back, because I'd like to kind of, oh, great. Thanks, Petrina. Puya, are there any other questions?
Kamran has his hand up.
Kamran, can you open up your line, please?
Yes. Taimur, as you know me, I have passed, if I use this abbreviation right, because I don't get used to them anymore, ACTH or something like this, that I have passed already, because I myself do not believe in certifications. So I never continue to accredit by ICF. And I have my own coaching system. And as you know, I'm a leader too. So I get used to use team coaching, not only in places that I am their coach or mentor in their system, but also in my, workshops. But I have confused, because I received the two different items from your site. First one was the minimum required certification to attend in this ICE or advanced system is to have the ACC, which means that you have to accredit by ICF. And second, you mentioned that you have some students that they are attending in both system in parallel, and they can then at the end apply for both of them. So I just confused that, is it possible someone without ACC attend for education and learning, and then put aside for the rest of the road, or not?
Yeah, great question.
Did you got my questions?
I think so. If I haven't, you tell me once you hear the response. So I'm going to share the site for a second, our site. So this is what we say about who should attend. So this advanced strength-based program is designed for coaches and team leaders who aim to enhance their team coaching performance to achieve their goals with consistency. Now, this is, I think, where, Kamran, the confusion occurs. What we're saying is, by attending this program, the credentialed coaches can apply for the advanced certification, and they got to have a minimum of ACC. To attend the program, you don't need to be a credentialed coach.
Okay, so I got it. So you can attend without any certification, but if you want to accredit, then you have to pass also ACC.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Okay, I got it. Thank you for your explanation.
Welcome. You're welcome. So I think there was another question from Massa. Was there another question from Massa I saw in the chat?
Yeah, she hasn't indicated it, but Petrina mentioned that she's finalizing her coaching program this year and currently coaching one-to-one and volunteer workshops and facilitation at the moment with small teams. So that's her background.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Congratulations. So yeah, it's great. The fact that you're down the road and you're almost complete, you're likely to be sitting, having learned the competencies. Somebody's observed those competencies from the faculty, giving you feedback. So if this was an accredited program, you should have had this, where you've been observed while you're coaching, and you've had feedback. And if you're attending a level 1 or a level 2 program, Petrina, you would have a performance evaluation where the faculty, whoever is doing the performance evaluations of that provider will see whether you've reached the minimum standards of competencies. Now, great. So you're well on your way. So you can comfortably attend. If team coaching is for you and you're anxious to, not anxious, excited to be to be moving forward and working with teams, then go and find a program that fits you, and start learning the team coaching competencies and applying them, and start building, maybe on the back of the one-on-ones, start building on clients that potentially will get you to work with their teams. So remember, 56% of coaches are working with team leaders. Team leaders lead teams, right? So perfect opportunity. If you've already got clients one-on-one and they're and you're working in organizations, you're already there. It's a matter of taking your business that next step, if you haven't already done so, whereby the client, the team leader, is seeing the benefits of the coaching one-on-one, and they want to enhance the performance of their team, and they'll draw you in for some of those team developments. Maybe they've already done that. So Petrina, over to you. You decide based on where you are. Thank you for letting us know that. Puya, any other questions?
Not at the moment. I was hoping that I can put up a little poll with some questions and feedback, getting some feedback from you all, because obviously your feedback is incredibly valuable to us. It helps us design our programs better, figure out what it is that you want. So if you, I'm going to put this poll up, and if in the meantime, also, if anybody has any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. And as a way for us to show our appreciation for taking the time to answer the questions, everyone who fills in the feedback will also get a special promotion price of 20% off on the team coaching program. So I'm just going to put that. I'm just going to launch the questions. They're all multiple choice, so they'll be quick to answer. I hope you can all see it.
Puya, just please confirm the drop date for that, and just so that everybody is aware.
Yeah. So the promotion is the program starts on the 20th of June, and the promotion offer is until the 12th of June. So if you want to avail that promotion, you have to sign up on or before the 12th of June.
Thank you.
So there's multiple questions, so you can just scroll down and answer them.
And by the way, as you're doing this, for those of you who complete and have time and have questions, please put your question in the chat. We've got a little bit of time before we wrap up today, and we're here to kind of answer as many questions as out there. And Massa, if there's anything outstanding on question-wise, I know you were driving. If there's anything else, please put it in the chat. Let us know. So just for those of you who have questions, we have a little bit more time. Your questions may not be directly related to team coaching, and that's okay. If once we've done with all the team coaching questions, if you have any questions on any other areas, please stay behind, and we and I are here to respond, or at least connect you to a place where you can get those answers that you need. Well, thank you for those of you who are writing in the chat that you need to leave. It's great that you've come and put the time. I trust it's you walking away with some information that's new and valuable for you. We're here. If there's any other questions afterwards that you haven't thought about it, please connect with us, and we'll do our best to respond. Thank you, Vladimir. It's great to see you. I'm not quite sure whether I've connected with you. Your name seems familiar, but I'm not sure whether we've connected somewhere in the past.
Well, I've actually seen one of your presentations sometime before. I can't remember. It was probably about team coaching, because I'm interested in the theme, but I don't remember when it happened, but it was some time ago.
You got one of those names that you once you see it, you kind of know. When you see it again, you know you've seen it somewhere.
It's not very easy to say my name, to pronounce my name, but once you read it, then you can't forget it. That's right.
I know how you feel though, but let me.
Yeah, I know. But thank you very much. Well, we'll be connected via LinkedIn anyway. Okay.
For sure. Thank you for attending.
We have two more questions, one from Toby and one from Alessandro. I think Alessandro's hand went up first, so maybe we can start with you. Alessandro, if you open up your line, and feel free to let us know.
Yes, thank you so much for your explanation. To get more information about your program, can we receive by LinkedIn or message, email? And the second point, I have been coaching since 10 years, and so I have already PCC level. And if I understood well, your program is a 60-hour program, and everyone is welcome to join that. But it's not really, in my case, it would be in some way more appropriate the 30 hours education. But for this particular niche, you don't have a program. Your program is the 60-hour, right?
So Alessandro, it's a great question. If you are in that category where you've had team coaching experience before, not coaching, team coaching experience, and you want to apply through that, what was it called? They call it the credit for prior learning as part of the credentialing process. So if your intention is credentialing, getting the advanced certification in team coaching, and you've had team coaching experience, right? Then you can come onto a program that is 60 hours, 90 hours, whatever hours it is, and you can complete all of the program or be in part of the program. What ICF wants is a certification that says you've had 30 hours of team coaching education, right? So you may decide to go and find a program that's only 30 hours somewhere and is valid for ICF, and you do that. Or you may want to come onto ours and do the full 60 hours, or you may want to talk to us in terms of whether you can do the 30 hours of that section. My gut feeling, Alessandro, is that it very much depends on the richness of the program. So if you're in a program where the richness of content and knowledge adds to what you already got and takes you to that upper level, I think you need to just decide whether, the added value for you personally. As far as credentialing concerned, ICF has kind of set the boundaries, the minimum requirements. So I hope that helps. Do a bit of research. I would do a little bit of research on, what's out there in the marketplace. But if you come to ICE, this strength development add-on is a bunch of knowledge about getting to know how different talents show up in people. And you want to be putting that next to the coaching competencies you're learning in team coaching, and then being able to apply it effectively. Personally, I think 60 hours is not enough. Honestly, I'm still learning that process. So there's a lot of knowledge, but it's also a lot of application. So come and talk to us. You then decide what kind of program you need in order to get to the next level for yourself. Yeah, and Puya would be the best contact to start with. And did you jot down the numbers and how you can connect with us?
We are connected by LinkedIn already.
You're already in LinkedIn. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Well, that'll take you to the next level then. Thank you. By the way, where are you connecting from?
From Thailand, actually.
No way. Oh, okay. So this is the first. It's the first for us having somebody from Thailand connect. Fantastic. Must be really late over there by now.
Yes, I'm a little bit tired. 11:20 p.m.
I'm amazed. You're still here. So that shows resilience. Well done, you.
Okay.
Okay, so we have Toby. Toby, if you want to open up your line and ask your question.
Yeah, so my question was regarding that bridge program that I saw on the screen. If you could share a little bit about what that program is.
Absolutely. So one of the things I've experienced with coaches in the past is some coaches prefer to do their education in segments. So they don't want to do the whole thing in one go. So the bridge program is designed for those who have done a bit of the requirements to get to a professional coach certification, so PCC level. So in order to get to PCC, that ICF says minimum 125
right.
hours.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt. Yeah, no, I understand what that is, but I'm wondering with your organization, with that bridge program, what is the discipline of the course? Is that also in team coaching, or is it in something else? I was just curious.
It's purely for those who want to get to PCC or professional coach education level on competencies. So the minimum of that is 125 hours. So if you've done like 60 hours of education on coach specific training, not team coaching, coach specific training, and you want to get up to that 125 minimums, the ICF, that's the bridge. It's going from there to there.
Right, but is that also, and I'm not sure because I don't know, I guess, enough about ICE with that program, that bridge program, because I have my ACC and I am looking to bridge to a PCC, but is that only given in team coaching, or do you have other options that you're offering?
It's the other options to so it's very much around it's got nothing to do with team coaching. It's all about taking you from the competency of ACC to PCC.
Okay, excellent. So would I be able to get some information sent to me about that program, cost, when it's starting? I'm assuming that's all virtual.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, no, that would be fantastic. That was what I was trying to understand. So perfect, great. Okay.
So are you connected with us? Puya, do you know how to get connected and send that?
I believe we're connected on LinkedIn.
Yes, we're connected on LinkedIn, exactly. Yeah, so I think, so this was very helpful in getting a better understanding, but I think really what I'm looking for now that I've had an opportunity to sit here and go through this is to look for that bridge program.
Awesome. Okay. Can I ask you where you're located?
Yes, I'm in Jerusalem.
Okay, so the timing of that is not too bad. So we're in kind of early evening.
Right. So when you started this program, I believe it was 6 o'clock my time.
Oh,
Okay.
So
right.
we have, are you in the US?
I'm actually based in the UK. Puya is based in the UAE. So
Oh, okay. So yeah, we have a 2-hour difference from the UK. We're 2 hours ahead.
yeah, so perfect. That's when the programs are generally running around the same time as we're running the webinars.
Oh, then that's perfectly fine.
Cool. Okay.
I just want to add, Toby, that though the bridge program does not include, it's not necessarily, doesn't include any team coaching within it, but what it does contain, which is additional to the normal competencies of, the level 2 competencies, is that it has the strength development element and the business development that Tamer talked about earlier. So those are incorporated into all of our programs. So you're going to experience some of that.
Okay. And I also wanted to find out, so when you graduate the bridge program, is there the ability to go under the ATC path through ICE so that you are the ones who evaluate the recordings, and it's much easier to get through in terms of timing the ICF, because I did the other path and I was literally waiting like 4 to 5 months for them just to review a recording to pass it. So
yeah, so we are accredited at level 2 with ICF, and that gives us the ability to do all the performance evaluation in-house.
okay, fantastic.
And in
Great
fact,
question.
we also have like a sort of a mock exam that you will have access to for free, so that you can practice and prepare yourself for the exam.
Great. I just did it. So I think it's probably going to be the same time.
It's done. It's done. It's done. Awesome.
But yeah, so I have to retake it. I think if anything, getting to the next level should be even more helpful, although it wasn't a problem the first time around. So yeah, hopefully it won't be the second time if I need to sit for it. I think you do, though. I think, no?
You don't. For PCC, it's the new one you've taken,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I just took it. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, you don't need to repeat it for PCC. It's because it's the new exam. So you're done. You're
Okay.
done.
Well, okay, great. One less thing to do. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah, it would be great if you could send me some information, and then I may have some questions and I may come back, but at least that'll give me a starting point.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
That's awesome. Well, it's good to meet 2 new faces. You two I hadn't talked to before. So thank you for joining us tonight. And for the rest of you who are already here, if there's no more questions, we're good to go. So any more questions?
No.
Well, thanks for coming tonight, today, whatever your time is, and look forward to seeing you soon.